Hey, howdy, hey, welcome to Gamers Watch. We're trying something a bit different, so if everything goes to shit within like 2 minutes, then I
Sean's
apologize,
fault.
but at the same time, I don't apologize because it's taken me fucking ages to try and get this working. Um, I'm
53
Sean,
minutes so far.
literally, it's fucking 10 to 9. I'm
Yeah.
Sean, and as always, joined by Harry.
Hello.
And today we thought, let's discuss Wingspan. Now, before we get into it, if you enjoy this video, and even if you don't forget to follow us on Twitter, which is at Gamers Watch Crew. Subscribe to YouTube, which you are watching on right now. Give it a little like, leave a little comment if you played Wingspan. Let us know what you think, and also join the bloody Discord, which is a good place to chat about games, have fun, and also like shape our future a bit, I guess.
Share memes. Sick memes.
Share memes. What was it I said on the podcast? Chat fun, get bummed or something, wasn't it? Have fun.
Uh, yeah, it was something about being bummed. I can't
Oh,
quite
sorry.
remember.
And also, as well as all that, once you finish watching this, go watch that episode of the podcast so you can see what I said. But for now, we're going to talk about Wingspan. We're not. We're not now, though.
We're not muted now, no. If it was muted, if that bit did mute, what you missed is me getting really close to the microphone and going, "Are we muted, Sean?" So
there's so much automation
crossed.
going on right now that I don't know what's
don't
happening,
know.
to be honest.
Looking behind the scenes, it's just cardboard and duct tape. We don't want to mess with anything. 53 minutes of prep nearly got ruined because Sean swapped monitors.
Fuck me, everything flickered. I don't know. Wingspan. Let's hope this is
Wingspan.
going well. Let's hope this is recorded.
So I don't know anything about this game other than it's £17 on Xbox at the moment, and
Yes.
it's got birds in it, and there's cards. Like that's the knowledge that I have of this game. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a stab in the dark at what I think this game is, and
Right.
then you can tell me how wrong I am. So, because like with the Road 96 video that we did that just released today, your idea of what the game was very massively different to the actual game. So,
Yeah.
be interesting to see how close I am. So, I think that this is Gwent, but with birds, and you battle birds. And so sometimes you might have a crow, and crows are intelligent, and you might need to beat up a swan. And as we all know, swans are dicks, and the crow might be smarter than the swan. And it's a bit like Top Trumps meet Gwent with a bit of birds in it. And that's what I think. Am I right at all?
No. No. So Wingspan originally was a board game, or is a board game, and this is basically just that game transferred onto Xbox. The aim of the game is to build up your wildlife reserve, and basically have the most points or feathers, the little feathers, most points at the end of the game. But the way you go about building your reserve is there's essentially three sort of habitats to your reserve, which is the forest, which currently on now on the gameplay, sort of like a grassland, and then water, basically like a lake. And each track has a different sort of action to it. So the forest is where you can go into your bird feeder and get food. And there's different types of food as we're actually covering up. So I'm going to switch to the windowed mode. On the right, there's the like cherry, fish, worm, mouse, corn. So different types of food and different birds, as you can see on the top of the card, have different sort of like needs to be able to put them down onto the board.
Okay.
The grasslands is all about eggs, so you can lay eggs on your bird. As again, you can see at the bottom of the card, there's a little like spaces for the eggs. And then the water is where you draw new birds from the deck, basically.
Right, okay.
So each track, as you see, so I've laid one bird on this track, and then as you put more birds down on each track, you can do more of that action in one turn. So at the moment, I could draw one bit of food from the bird feeder. If I had another bird down, I'd be able to draw 2 bits of food from the bird feeder.
Right.
And the bird feeder is basically composed of dice or die, and you just have to choose one that's rolled. As soon as it gets to all of the die having the same type of food, you can re-roll all of them, sort of thing. So you got to try and like time it so you get the food you want. The grasslands with the eggs is literally self-explanatory. However many eggs you can get, depending on how far on the track you are, you just choose it, and then you choose which birds you want to have the eggs on.
Okay.
And then the same again with the water. So the further along the track you are, the more cards you can draw at once. There's several ways to score points. So the first way is the birds you have in your reserve. They all have a value. So the little number next to the feather above the birds is their value. So you'll get that many points at the end of the game.
Right.
You also get points for the amount of eggs laid at the end of the game. So not total throughout the game, the amount you have at the end of the game, sort of thing.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Because the further along the tracks you go, it costs eggs to put the birds down, as well as their food value. So you sort of have to like make sure you got plenty of eggs to be able to put more birds down.
Yeah.
And there's also end of round bonuses. So there's 4 rounds.
At a time multi-egg.
4 rounds to a game. Each round is 1 turn lower than the previous. So I think it's like 8 goes you get on the first round. So the second round 7, third round 6, etc. And there's sort of like a little goal for the end of each round, and whoever has the most of that goal. So one goal could be amount of eggs on birds, or another could be the amount of birds in your forest habitat.
Yeah.
Whoever has the most at the end of the round gets bonus points, sort of thing.
Right. Okay. It's not just all about the end game. You've also got like round specific objectives that you need to hit.
Yeah. So someone could put down like a shit ton of birds.
Yeah.
And like think that they've got it sorted, and then because they didn't do much in the round goals, someone else sort of creeps up and wins. But it's just it's a strategy game, but it's the most relaxing strategy game I've ever played. And one of the key things to that, I think, is that you're not really competing with other people. Like you're trying to get the highest score, but there's no real interaction with the other players. Like you're all just sort of playing your own game, and then at the end it's like, oh, you got this score, you got this score, you got this score. There's there's a few cards, so like this Birds of Prey, like that owl, and some of them kind of interact. So some might be, if someone else plays this card, you can do this sort of thing.
Okay.
But it's very rare that you actually interact with the other players that are playing. It's just sort of, you just focus on your own little reserve, build up your little birds, and get the points.
So when you're playing, you playing people online, or are you playing AI, or are you playing local multiplayer?
You can play against other players. I didn't. I've just played the AI at the moment while I'm still like learning the game and that. But there is, I think, actually captured a few different game modes if I switch to the right one. So there's just one game mode basically. There's no like variations to the game. But there is a really cool online feature called asynchronous. So basically you have 72 hours to take your turn. So you can just literally start a game with someone. So if I started a game with you, I'd take my turn. You'd then have 72 hours to take your turn, and then it will just ping me being like, Harry's taking his turn. You've got 72 hours to do your turn.
Whenever you can. Oh,
Yeah,
okay. So it's not like rushing you to complete the game. It's like whenever you can spare 5 minutes.
Again, just playing into the relaxing feel of the game. And you've also got, when you play a bird for the first time, you unlock it just to like see its card, with the little like ability it's got. So they have different abilities. Most of them are when activated, which means, so I've got, I think, one bird on the I got one bird on the lake there. So if I press to draw a card, it will then basically go down in a line on all the birds that are in that like thing.
Right.
So if one of the powers is when activated, that counts as activating it. So it will do that action, go to the next bird, so on and so forth. Some of the other ones are when played, which is just the first time you put it down onto the board. Others are, like I said, with the owl, when a certain action is done by another player, their ability is then like played, sort of thing. So yeah, there is strategy.
So
but
it's sort of
just so relaxing.
cooperative, but also competitive. But also, it doesn't even matter if you win, because it's more about just relaxing and getting to the end than it is about sort of making sure that you win.
Yeah, I mean, I very rarely pay any attention to what the other players are doing in the game. I literally just I'm just focused on my reserve. But there's no frustration if you don't win. Like, there is the odd, like, because you can pick 5 things at the start, and it's a mix between birds and food. So it's just 5. So it could be 4 birds, 1 food, 2 birds, 3 food. And there can be times where like you'll get shit birds and you're like, what can I do with this? But as soon as you start playing, you just relax straight away, and you completely forget that you're actually playing a competitive game, because it just doesn't feel like it. Like, everything about it just feels really relaxing and like just calm, nice and calm.
It's what we need in the world. Just nice little bit of calm, little book of calm. What you need, just sit back, relax, and stare at some blue tits. So, having a look at the gameplay as it goes on in the background of this, it's got a very clear sort of visual aesthetic to it. It very much looks like a board game in a video game. So another instance of that is like, Monopoly. Whenever they bring Monopoly to the console, they don't make it look like Monopoly. They make it look like an Xbox game that happens to be Monopoly. Whereas I feel like this is a very true representation to what the board game would actually look like. So even the animations being sort of stilted and hand drawn, and the lettering looking very handwritten, and it just all looks very natural, and it doesn't look like a video game. It very much looks like a board game.
The actual art direction, I guess, that I think they were going for, because it's what it 100% reminds me of it, is the little info plaques you get at zoos and reserves.
Yeah.
It literally looks like those cards look like what would be in front of whatever sort of, I don't want to say cage. What are they called?
Habitats.
That you'd find them in at like the zoo and stuff like that.
Animal prison, whatever. Slave chamber that
I couldn't
monkey
remember
is
the word
assigned
that they
to.
use at the zoo when they're like, oh, this lion's thing, and you're like, it's a prison.
Look how happy the gibbons
enclosure are. The enclosure.
Kill me. This has given me flashbacks of that fucking monkey sanctuary in Cornwall. Yes, the enclosure. Yeah, it very much looks like an info packet. So obviously,
there's no monkeys in this, by the way.
There's not, no. Just depressed blue tits. We've got
common kingfishers.
The gameplay on in the background, and I want to just talk about the sound design. So I'm a bit of a bird nerd, I guess. I used to be part of the RSPB. Do the birds make the noises that they would make in real life?
Yep. Yep, they do. And if I go back onto the menu one,
Ooh.
so you can play their sound as well when you've got the card up. I don't know if I do it for any others. Oh, I do. I think.
Bird nerds
Here we go.
Unite.
There's a red
Oh
kite.
yeah, that is a red kite. Yeah, that does sound just like a red kite. There you go.
So they do have the birds.
Bird
and they...
nerds unite.
And while you're playing the game, they'll just chatter to each other as well. So it's again playing into a relaxing thing. All you can hear, especially with a headset on, so there's no outside noise, is just birds chattering away.
Cool.
It's so nice. But the music as well. And again, I've captured something. This is literally just sat on the menu of the menu music. I'm gonna mute our mics as well so we can hear it. So if I just... No one heard that because we were muted.
Pet drill.
No, cheese oid, that's cheese. But yeah, it's just that relaxing music is played throughout the game as well. I could fall asleep to have the menu on. It's that relaxing.
Normally, saying I would fall asleep playing this game is a bad thing, but
normally means it's boring as fuck, but it's not.
It sounds lovely. This sounds genuinely lovely.
It is one of the most relaxing games I've ever played. I think I can't describe. It's one of those games you can't describe because you say to someone it's a strategy game and you think, oh, you're constantly thinking like there's no time to rest because your mind's just going to be ticking thinking 3 moves ahead and that. It's not. You couldn't be more relaxed playing a strategy game.
Well, that sounds chuffing lovely. And chaffinching lovely. Bird pun.
Yeah, I heard it.
A shit one, but there we go.
Bass. I also as well forgot to say in the intro, thanks to, and I'm terribly sorry because I'm going to pronounce this completely wrong. And I know you know what I'm going to say, so I'm going to let you pronounce it. How do you pronounce the name?
I just say the first 5 letters, so I just call her Karis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Big thanks.
I want you to say the whole thing.
It's charismatics, isn't it? I can pronounce the second part. I didn't know if it was.
Pronounce the second
I didn't
part.
know if it was like a hard C or a soft C, basically.
Okay. Charismatics. Yeah.
Karis. Big thanks as well for introducing me to this game because my god, I don't know how I didn't come across it before because obviously
via the Discord, which you can join now. Link in the description. Because yeah, I want the board game. I'm going to buy the board game because me and my cousin and Lucia have like tabletop nights where we play like Pandemic. I can never remember the name. Haunted in the House Hills, something, blah, blah, blah. Forbidden Island and all that. And I'm going to force them to play this. I'm going to buy it and they're going to have no fucking choice. And they will relax while playing it. Smashing the microphone as I shout bird nerds.
They will relax. I will make them relax. So yeah, thanks, Karis.
We'll very quickly move on then because this is going to be quite a short sort of discussion because we don't want to give away the meat and bones of what is a very relaxing experience. But you're a big tabletop board gamer. I'm not so much. So in terms of sort of like representation of board games in video games, does this hit all the boxes that you look for in a good tabletop game?
As playing as a video game?
Yes.
This, yeah, it is literally. I mean, like I said, I haven't played the actual tabletop game yet, but I can't picture it being much different. Like it is literally the game. I imagine it's going to be maybe a bit easier for as a video game space-wise, because I don't know how the 3 habitats are going to lay out in front of each player in the tabletop game sort of thing, whereas obviously on screen it's just slap the 5 cards there. But yeah, it's I can't think of a better way they could have implemented it as a video game.
Well, there we go. So it's a big
really
thumbs up. Thumbs up from Gamers Watch then.
Only thing I could think of possibly changing, but again, I don't know if it needs it, is, like I said earlier, there's no variations to the game. I don't know if there is in the actual tabletop version either, so
okay.
It is, if you start to get a bit tired of the like base game mode, there's nothing else to turn to sort of thing to still keep playing the game but keep it fresh. It is just, that's the game. Deal with it.
Like it or lump it, and if you don't like it, then sling your hook.
Then stop relaxing.
Tell me how you get this relaxed, or I'll kill your families. Well, there we go. On the talk of killing families, I think that's sort of a good place maybe to leave this little discussion.
Yeah.
I hope everyone enjoyed it.
We've gone over 20 minutes again, so
wait,
not that little. It's longer than a podcast segment.
Yeah, it is. I hope you enjoyed sort of what we've done here. We've got another video that we're about to record as well. I don't know which one's coming out first. I don't know if this is the second one, but okay,
who knows?
Who knows? But if you like this content, we'd love to hear from you. We're changing the way that Gamers Watch sort of releases content. The podcast can only do so much without it just becoming too involved and there being too many things to talk about. So hopefully these shorter videos sort of mean that we can go back to our silliness that we used to have, sort of Michael Jackson's School for the Mute and stuff like that. And we can sort of get the podcast back to just being complete bonkers nonsense rather than bloody video game news, because everyone talks about bloody video game news, don't they?
Well, it's also because the thing with the podcast, because we tried to keep it to an hour so it doesn't take up your whole evening like other podcasts, it was very hard to get through all the points on a game in the sort of time we'd given it for the segment. So this basically just allows us, like I am now, to ramble over the allotted time. So it can be a bit longer. It still might be stupid and silly, but take it as each video comes. And if you're wondering, what are they on about, the games that they talked about on the podcast, watch the fucking podcast.
Yeah. Not at the moment, because we're taking a sort of a short break from the podcast, but go back and watch the backlog.
Watch the old episodes. They're all good.
Yeah.
They're timeless.
Start at episode 1 and work your way through to 72. That's easily 100 hours worth of content. So
3 days worth.
Yeah. If you don't do that, then I don't even want to fucking hear from you. If you haven't watched every single minute of our content, are you even a fan? No. Probably not.
I haven't watched every single minute of our content.
Me neither. Me neither.
We also have a return for this episode. For a return from the podcast. We're previously in the podcast. Should we whip it out before going to the outro?
Yeah, whip it out, Shaun.
Let's relax to those soothing sounds and say hello to an old friend.
Welcome back.
I'm laughing both because Dick Butt is back, yodeling Dick Butt. Everyone loves the yodeling Dick Butt. And also because you won't see it, but I put the wrong fucking video file in. So
and also, you may have edited this out, but when the Dick Butt plays, it says placeholder 2.
So I mean, it's the placeholder video, not the actual fucking video. But it'll just overlay it, it'll be fine, it'll be done. It will still be less editing than if we wasn't doing it this way.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
And while you're at it, don't forget to follow us on Twitter, which is Game of Swatch crew, like the video, subscribe, hit the bell, join the Discord.
Hit the right button, please, Shaun.
I got the right button. I did press the right button.
Do it. Oh my god, that was so funny. Well,
which button?
thank you.
The end. You want to end the episode?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.